All right. Michael Grubb, Evolved Ministry. Let me see. Normal day. This isn't going to be about working with aerokinesis or psychokinesis or anything like that. But this will be sitting here just to show you that when I say certain things or when I make certain points, that the energy system will kick up. Which brings me to a caveat in terms of meditation. Now, this is the intro into meditation. And one of the most important things when it comes to meditation is you being able to recognize when you are actually having an effect upon your environment, and being able to recognize all sorts of results. So when you're putting an input into the system, is there something actually happening back? So one of the things, in order to really be able to excel and to learn as much as possible when it comes to self-mastery, is whether your input is having an effect. So basically what you want to do is not only be mindful of all results, you probably should take a pen and a notepad with you. So that way after you meditate, or even sometimes while you're meditating, that you're taking note that while you had a certain thought, you got a response. While you were breathing, response happened in the atmosphere. While you were doing certain body movements and everything to enhance your connection into the environment, whether that had an effect on the environment or not. So basically what you want to do is you want to take note of every last little thing that occurs while you are meditating. By doing so, what you're going to do is you're going to essentially be able to chart and figure out what thoughts had the most effect, what movements had the most effect, why these movements occurred, and what the situation was during that time that caused these movements, these thoughts, these emotions, these feelings, because every last thing that you do up here actually does have an effect out here, whether your intentions are causing it. As you saw a second ago, I put my hand up, nothing happened with this. Then I put my intention towards that, and then it started to move. So you have to basically take note to when your inputs are actually creating results within the system that you reside in. Now, let's get to the idea of meditation. There are several different forms of meditation. There are several different ways that you can meditate, multiple ways of breathing, multiple different methods of thought, multiple movements or non-movements. There's of course sitting down, there's also laying down, you can do it standing up. There's many people that will ask me, what is the most perfect way to meditate? Well, I guess that depends on what kind of an effect you're going for. It depends on the intentions that you're going for. So, when you meditate, you want to set your intentions, unless of course you're just basically meditating in order to see what occurs, because oftentimes I'll do meditations just to see what kind of random results, but there's no such thing as anything being random, but to see what kind of results happen when I just kind of let loose and let go. So, but me personally, when it comes to meditation, I have multiple methods, multiple techniques across the board for whatever it is I'm trying to achieve. So that's one thing that is very important, is that you set your intentions. What is it you're trying to achieve? Is this going to be a transcendental meditation? Is this going to be a meditation that allows you to let go of anger? Is this going to be a meditation that allows you to connect you to the system and obtain peace? So you have to decide for yourself what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to achieve. What are the results you're trying to get out of it? So, meditation, again, has so many, let's just say it like this. Meditation is extremely vast. There's just as many ways of meditating as there is ways of doing soccer techniques, basketball techniques, drumming techniques, and you have to decide for yourself what is the most useful for you. And again, with this particular section, we're going to be going through several different forms of meditation, what these particular forms of meditation are for, and then I also want you to be able to create your own version of meditation, create your own techniques, so that way everything that you do is fitting towards you. Because what one person does may not work for another person. I can tell you that a lot of my techniques that I have transferred down the board to other students have worked, but every single student, again, is somewhat different. And every single student is always going to figure out different ways of making a situation work for them, and then fine-tuning it to their preferences. I mean, if you look at an Apple iPhone, these things now are dedicated. They're created so that people can align that phone with their many different preferences. Well, that's the same thing for anything else out there, including meditation. So, again, I'm going to go through this real quick. Number one, when you meditate, it doesn't matter what meditation you're doing, you should always take note of what is happening in your environment. Okay, so it could be a car honk, it could be someone walking by you, it could be your heater turning on in your home, your furnace kicking on, it could be any number of things, it could be your phone ringing at a certain point, because believe it or not, a lot of times when you meditate, what will happen is the system will try to interfere with you. As soon as you start to get in, you start getting locked in really well, all sorts of things will start to occur. Many people will contact me and tell me, I'll be meditating out in the woods, and all of a sudden, as soon as I start to get connected, someone will walk up behind me. And they could be out there where they thought that no one would ever show up, but these things happen. There's all sorts of things that are geared and dedicated towards knocking you off what you're doing just to see how dedicated you are in order to get it done. What are you willing to do in order to self-master? Sometimes it takes a lot of perseverance. Sometimes there's going to be situations where you're going to be tested as to your own dedication of how far you'll go. Me personally, I've meditated in every single form that I can think of. I've done it next to the ocean. I've done it in places where I thought I was completely secluded. And no matter what, there's always something there that will try to thwart me when I am starting to make my connection. So, these are the things that you have to take into account and understand that the system doesn't try to necessarily make it easy on you. You live in a world which is dedicated towards cycles. You live in a world that is dedicated towards the machine itself. So keep that in mind. You live in a world where this place wants you to serve it at all times. And so if you are trying to break through and if you are trying to improve yourself, the way it looks at it is this: why improve yourself when you could be improving me? Well, the fact of the matter is, by improving yourself, you're actually improving your environment and everything around you. You start to think differently. You start to act differently. And the way you see the world starts to look a lot different as well. And by doing so, you're helping to evolve and upgrade the system, and oftentimes the system itself doesn't want to upgrade. The way it looks at it is it has a whole bunch of drones on this planet that's constantly serving it. So if you decide to make yourself a smart little drone, well, that may take you away from the fact that you are its little slave or its little servant. And the way it looks at it is, I'm going to do anything and everything in my power to thwart you. Now keep in mind that the system is just like any human being. It's bipolar. Okay, so it has a positive, it has a negative, and because it runs on electricity, because we run on electricity, we have that same thing going on. So you can be happy one minute, hateful the next minute. The whole point is to get yourself stable. The whole point is to become positive, not neutral, stable. Because if you are neutral, then you are what? You're neutralized. And that's just as good to it as being negatively polarized. Any way you look at it, when you're neutral, or when you're negative, you are basically a servant. This world caters itself towards the neutralized and the negative. Anything that is positive, it tries to stamp out. But the thing is if you reduce yourself of all the fears, this is what meditation is for. If you get rid of all the things that this planet tries to do to thwart your ability to evolve past its limitations, then there will come a time when you no longer are threatened by any of its abilities or any of its attempts to shut you down. Now, meditation, as I said before, can be used to accomplish a multitude of tasks. Intentions are going to be one of the main things that separates you from just sitting down and basically closing your eyes and allowing yourself to free float into space and time, and then coming up with specific things that you want to accomplish. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the whole idea of just shutting your thoughts down and free floating. I like to do that a lot. But if you are a person who has a lot of goals, if you're a person who has things that you want to get done, if you have ideas of how your self-mastery should go, then you should start to learn how to set your intentions when you meditate and when you do anything. Anytime I go out and practice or I train, I have my goals set. Anytime I even do demonstration videos, I set my goals as to what I want to accomplish, how I want to accomplish it, and then I make it so. Any of those videos that you see released on YouTube, those were all pre-planned. That was me going out there saying, this is what I want to get done, this is what I want to accomplish, I want to show them X amount of energy, and I want to show them X amount of connectivity. So again, it should be the exact same when it comes to meditation. Now, this particular course is going to have, I believe, at least 17 sections, and it's going to teach you how, or at least the techniques that I have come up with in order to overcome certain things, enhance certain things, gain connectivity into certain aspects of the universal mainframe. And by doing all of these things, you are helping to evolve the way that you think and how you connect into the universal mind. Remember, this entire system is a thinking organism. As a matter of fact, the earth itself is the organism. We are just the stuff that grows on top of that organism. Never forget that. We might as well be mold if you think about scale and size. Because what seems big to us is small to the universe. The earth is not even a speck of dust in comparison to the vast nature of the universe. And so you always have to remember that you are a part of something greater. You are not separate. You are not individual. As much as we like to fool ourselves into believing such things, you know, we have things in nature all the time that show us the nature of the hive mind. So we look at beehives, anthills. There's all sorts of things that remind us that human beings, animals, insects, they're all serving something that is thinking for them. And it's no different with human beings, although we like to tell ourselves that. But the fact of the matter is, anytime you even go to work, you're serving something much greater. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be paying taxes. So keep these things in mind and realize that when you're connecting in, this is something that I have to remind people in almost every video, that you're not controlling anything. You're not controlling Mother Nature. You're not controlling the wind. You're not controlling the universe. The universe is thinking through you. You're in the universe, not vice versa. You're a part of that. So these are the things that I want you to understand. You are a part of something greater, a part of a mass collective, the organism which is the all. So, this is Michael Grubb. This is Intro to Meditation. And again, I want you to understand that meditation is going to be a thing that is going to help you evolve and push your ability to self-master yourself to the next level. Eternal love.